So the was it the H2S and the hydrocarbons? Those materials are present, or are they?
They're present. We believe, from witness information. There's some amount of hydrocarbon and some amount of H2S in the 80% hydrogen. This water is scrubbing that hydrogen, and so the witnesses have said that the water that's circulating through these filters can contain dissolved hydrogen because it's under pressure, hydrocarbons, and H2S.
Is this material?
We're going to be examining that to establish that as a fact, because when we, we're trying to tell you what we know at the time, but as a scientific agency, we look for multiple data points to establish facts. And so we can have witness information. We're telling you why we're looking at things in order to, to pursue it. And so we're more explaining to you what we're doing, what our activities are, not giving you conclusions as to what happened.
But that stuff, is it something that's seen by the eye, or is it something that is measured with a test, and you're saying witnesses are saying it could be in there? Is that something that they measured, or is they saw it?
Witnesses have stated that they have knowledge that this processed water can contain those substances.
But at the part per million level or percent level, or did they indicate?
That some of that. I mean, their experience was that those substances could be. This water, for example, goes to a sour water system, which is where you send H2S. Water contaminated with H2S. We think those witness statements are leading us to look at these other things, like the historic data. There's been sampling done of this water, and we want to look at that data, and then next time we talk to you, I'm sure we'll have more information, maybe one way or another. Yeah.
But from the standpoint of this collected, I mean, could that then create a pressure enough to blow a lid off, a 500-pound lid, when you're talking about hydrocarbons and you're talking about
that's a good question. One of several scenarios we're looking at is there was actually an internal explosion that would have hydrocarbons, air, and a source of ignition. That's why we're looking at the historical records related to hydrocarbons. We're looking at the possibility of there being air trapped and how this was what their procedures and practices were for air freeing this vessel, and potential source of ignition, such as some information received from iron sulfide, or pyrophoric materials inside that vessel.
Just to step back, because I feel like I'm looking at a Rube Goldberg drawing or something.
Yeah. Well, you don't need to look at this part. This incident, although we're looking at a lot of other things, involved the failure of the lid from this particular vessel.
The compressor's purpose, how does it relate to the overall ultracracker? What does it do?
Okay, it compresses hydrogen to a high pressure, which is used, and it's verbiage it's used in a refinery, but it cracks in a catalyst bed diesel-like material.
Okay.
And it actually cracks it to what's referred to as a naphtha-like material, which is maybe similar to camping fuel. It's heavier than gasoline.
Hydrogen is used for cracking.
Hydrogen is used for cracking under high pressure in a catalyst bed.
And the water filtration unit
is scrubbing and cleaning
the hydrogen
before it goes into this compressor to be the pressure raised to 2,000 pounds, so that they can then crack the diesel.
So it's on the suction side of the compressor.
The 80% comes onto the suction side, and what comes out of the discharge of this compressor is high pressure hydrogen that is then sent to the reactors in this ultracracker unit that takes a heavier diesel-like hydrocarbon stream and turns it into a naphtha hydrocarbon stream. The naphtha-like substance is then a feedstock for high octane gasoline producing units, such as reformers.
Are these common in the industry?
Filtering water streams and scrubbers. Yeah, refineries have a lot of scrubbers.
Have
I
you
mean,
had
and
this-
a lot of water filters
seen this
for
type of-
different type of process.
Explosion before, similar explosion?
We're examining. We have no information to release. We're examining previous incidents involving explosion inside filter housing in other plants as well as this
So it
plant.
has before, where it's actually been determined?
It's too soon to tell because we haven't gotten any documentation.
Well,
But we're actively tracking down some information.
Well, to
But
see
I mean,
it,
there's a lot of plants in the area. If a lot of
Yeah.
these plants have this particular unit, and it's a physical, I don't know if it's a flaw or something that's a potential danger. I mean, that would obviously be a big concern.
And typically, if you're putting a refinery vessel into service with fluid that's potentially flammables, you have processes to air free the vessel.
procedures. Yeah.
And one of which you could use an inert gas like nitrogen to sweep through the vessel to remove oxygen. Another is you could take like service water that's known to not have any contaminants in it, fill it up and remove air in that way. So there's several ways that you could do that. But at this point, what we're looking at is what their procedures and practices were for ensuring these vessels were air free.
Is that industry standards to do that? I mean, is that required?
Like a
It's-
basic practice?
Yeah, it's basic practice to air-free vessels
So the hydrogen tower,
that may contain flammable. I'm not talking about something that's like
Right.
in a boiler house where you just have water. I'm just saying where you may have flammables present. You want to remove the air before you fill it up because you don't want to have an explosive mixture of hydrocarbon vapor and air inside the vessel.
I think I'm starting to understand some
Yeah.
of the basics here. The hydrogen tower is making
Sure.
hydrogen, and that I'm missing a step. So what is the
Okay,
the
from another process unit, you have a hydrogen manifold. You have hydrogen, 80% hydrogen coming into this unit. It's going to be compressed to crack over a catalyst bed before it goes to the reactor. And before it goes to this compressor, you want to scrub it and remove any impurities because these chlorides can collect on some of the internals of the compressor and
So that
it can be
feedstock.
off balance. There's
So
lots of problems.
That's
You
like a
can-
feedstock that goes, a hydrogen feedstock that goes in here, gets
No,
washed.
no,
and
no,
then
no. The hydrogen doesn't go in. There's a
Okay.
separate tower that we're not showing
Oh, sorry.
that the water sprays into, and the hydrogen enters at the bottom and goes out the top,
Okay,
and
got
then
it,
goes into
got
the
it.
suction of this compressor.
Okay.
And it's called hydrogen scrubber. I think we referenced it, but we didn't explain it.
Okay, so this is-
in our press
That,
release.
the water goes through it.
Okay.
It comes back.
It's a tower that's a scrubber, and it has two nozzles in it. One is just cooled boiler feed water that sprays in the top, and another is this filtered process water it's already been used to scrub once. It's in the bottom of the tower, and so you're taking a slipstream that's called recycle water, and you're filtering it, and then you're pumping it back into the tower.
Okay.
And part of that, what's taken off the bottom of the tower, part goes to the sour water system, and part is recycled and goes back into the tower to do more scrubbing.
Okay.
I'm sorry to be such.
Oh, no, no,
Well,
no.
that makes sense now.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, you bet. No problem.